Hey, my friend, we're at Laguna Road and Wood near Camarillo. We are far removed from where the chaos was just less than an hour ago when tear gas canisters started flowing and when less than lethal rounds started being deployed. My photographer got hit twice by less than lethal rounds, and he's got blood on one of his arms. And we just took off running with the entire crowd. It was absolutely chaotic. Here's more. Federal agents popped off tear gas and less than lethal rounds, causing protesters to scramble back. My Eyewitness News photographer and I, in the middle of the panicked crowd rushing away, we got caught in the mayhem. And startled like everyone else, terrified of getting hit by a less than lethal round or overwhelmed by tear gas clogging the throat. Hurry up. Right now, they're popping off tear gas canisters, and folks are just running like crazy, and it's just chaos out here. I'm going to have to get out of the way, folks.
We were speaking our minds like we can as U.S. citizens. We have tear gas, being pepper-based bomb. I got hit with the paintball. This is not okay. We are expressing our First Amendment right, which is freedom of speech, freedom of action, freedom of the press. This is what we need to be doing as a people coming together against them, the tyranny. They are the evil.
So, as you just witnessed, that was our local Los Angeles news affiliates at one of the farms here in Southern California. And as you can see, once again, chaos. Once again, chaos. Courtesy of our friendly neighborhood ICE agents and Border Patrol. I mean, it's just like, when is it gonna stop? As more chaos is occurring, and matter of fact, as I'm speaking right now, it's just been estimated that 7,000 criminals, supposed criminals or alleged criminals, are to be detained per day. And that's an increase from the previous 3,500 that was estimated to be rounded up. Now they've bumped it up, right? The border czar, Tom Homan, who I told you several months back, where as soon as he got announced as the border czar, the prison stocks went up. The prison stocks. And so they want 7,000 nationwide. They want 7,000 alleged criminals, criminal immigrants, to be rounded up again like sheep. Like sheep. And so now you have ICE agents, and it's estimated, as we all should know by now, that $145 billion is the budget now for immigration and customs enforcement. And for those of you that wish to be an ICE agent, you know, they've been advertising over the past several weeks now that they're offering a $10,000 bonus for those of you out there watching, those of you that want to be in the midst of this chaos where they're rounding up people randomly. And as we just saw in this clip, I'm going to play one more clip from that raid that just happened today, which happened at what's called Glass House Farms, where American citizens work at this farm, American citizens. And so, it's not stopping. And the Border Patrol and Homeland Security have already told us that this is not going to stop, and it's actually going to escalate. It's going to escalate so they can round people up and ship them off possibly to Florida, where they have this new place called Alligator Alcatraz on this airplane runway area, where they just kind of patched it up within a week, and they're already having problems. The facility is already having problems with flooding and different changes in the weather, which are going to change different conditions within the facility. And so while Florida's putting together the newest and latest Nazi concentration camps, because that's what these are, they're concentration camps for this new millennium. That's what this is, today's concentration camps, just like they did in Nazi Germany, right? Joseph Stalin, Russia, right? So I'm going to go back to this clip because I'm going to tie this all together. I'm going to show this. This is a continuation of the report that I just showed at the top of the show. So I'm just going to show this right here.
And here at Laguna and Wood, this is where some of the protesters have staged their protests right now after running away from all the chaos near where the federal agents are, about a half mile down the road from us. And you can see right now they're blocking a military vehicle from coming through here. So again, this is where they're staging right now, and more of them are showing up in this area as this situation continues. Live here near Camarillo, Leo Starworth, ABC 7 Eyewitness News. I'll send it back to you.
Certainly a difficult situation, Leo. Thank you. We want you to see this video as well from Air 7 minutes ago. We saw a line of people led away from the Glass House Farms by federal agents. Before that, Air 7 spotted dozens of people lined up outside one of the farm's facilities, several federal agents standing in front of them. And then a little while later, several people were seen sitting under a semi-trailer with agents around them. Still not clear if this was in fact a confirmed immigration operation, but we did see at least one U.S. Marshal bus on the property right there in the video, as well as several unmarked vans. They were seen driving away from the farm around 2:30 this afternoon.
And we spoke with a Camarillo City Council member about today's raid, and she explained how the immigration enforcement at these agricultural sites can have a far-reaching impact.
That we are in serious trouble. The farm working community, agricultural workforce was already struggling. They've already been struggling to get workers out on the field. And now with these additional tactics being utilized by the federal government, unfortunately, somebody's going to have to pay the price. And I think that might be us. And that will also be the agricultural growers whose food may rot. I mean, who's going to be picking your fruit and your veggies? And sadly, now every time that we sit down to eat, I want people to remember that it is being harvested under real serious conditions of trauma and terror.
She said back in June, there was an immigration raid where more than 40 farm workers were taken. But this is the first time she has seen tear gas being deployed during these raids in Ventura County.
As you just witnessed, more chaos. And you can't say that the civilians started this, right? You know how certain channels like to always blame the civilians versus blaming the federal agencies as being the antagonist. It's never the federal agents. It's always the civilians that are the shit starters, right? According to certain news networks. But as you can see in these clips, these are farm workers at work doing their job. And going back to Glass House, what is Glass House? Well, And I'm going to put this up on the screen here, or I'm going to put this picture up because it's going to tie into how we all kind of got here, or why we keep going here, why we keep going here. And so I'm going to put this up on the screen here, because what is Glass House Farms? What is Glass House Farms? Well, Glass House Farms is a cannabis growing farm facility. Cannabis growing farm facility. And for those of you that don't know, cannabis is legal here in California for medicinal and recreational usage. And I've been an advocate of cannabis use for medical and holistic purposes for well over 15 years, almost 2 decades now. Hence the reason I'm wearing the shirt that I'm wearing today. So, cannabis sales in California, because it's legal here for recreational purposes and for medicinal purposes. And I'm sure the Donald knows this, which is why he keeps attacking very specific places. So for those of you that didn't know, California, the revenue for California cannabis industry, California sales for cannabis for 2024, $4.7 billion. $4.7 billion. That's the sales revenue for cannabis here in California. And on top of that, 219 million in tax revenue. 219 million. That's how much the state of California gets from cannabis sales annually, or an estimated annually, which makes California the largest cannabis market in the world, according to the Department of Cannabis Control. And anybody can go and look this up. So you tell me why the Donald keeps going after California. Why? Because he wants a piece of this revenue. He wants a piece of the revenue, right? Because the Donald is about nothing but money. That's it. Nothing else. He's about money. Money. And how much he and his administration can get their hands on. Period. You know, as they say, period, full stop. That's what it's coming to. And the Donald wants to get his hands, and his administration want to get his hands on as much revenue as possible so he can spread it amongst his administration and himself and his family. That's why they're going after this facility called in Camarillo, California, right here in Southern California. Glass House Farms. And kudos to them for standing their ground, because these are American citizens. American citizens. Again, being rounded up like cattle so it can be all caught on camera for the world to see. So this man right here can make himself feel big and strong, powerful president, creating terror amongst his citizens, his American citizens. I mean, you know, the Donald has been under a whole lot of scrutiny for his business practices. His business practices. You know, he's bankrupted hotels, how can you bankrupt the and casinos as well? How can you bankrupt a casino? How do casinos go bankrupt? I mean, Steve Wynn has 2 hotels in Las Vegas, and they've been up for well over 2 decades. They're not going bankrupt. The Wynn and the Encore, they're not going bankrupt. The Donald had Trump Plaza, which hosted 2 WrestleManias, 4 and 5, and a great majority of the Mike Tyson fights of the mid and late 80s. So how could you possibly bankrupt a casino? Casinos, hotels, other entertainment entities, the entities, the Taj Mahal. He has a tower in Vegas and the other Trump Tower in New York, which, by the way, where Sean Combs was having his freak offs. That's in court testimony. You didn't know that, Mr. President? So he's had a multitude of business discrepancies, and multiple times he's been in court cases, and right now he still owes the state of New York almost $500 million, right? But he's doing the best that he can, and his administration, to bankrupt the country or certain states within the country, such as California. But California, being the 4th largest economy on the planet, I'm pretty sure we're able to hold our own. And speaking of that, speaking of California, I'm going to put this up on the screen because it appears that this man has become one of the Donald's nemesis. Oh, gosh. One of his nemesis, if not his greatest currently. And it's this man right here. So this is, of course, the governor of California, Governor Gavin Newsom. I call him Bruce Wayne. And for great reason. And for great reason. You know, Gavin Newsom went to South Carolina because South Carolina and other states in the area or in that region have been hit with natural disasters, and he made a choice, and actually South Carolina invited and welcomed him into their state. And South Carolina is a stone cold red state. And they embraced him with open arms because he volunteered to help them with their recovery from natural disasters that have occurred. And not only that, as I take this down, not only that, but also bringing it back here to California. Now, we remember when the fires happened right here in Southern California about 6 months ago, and the Donald came out here, and Gavin Newsom, I showed this in a previous episode, Gavin Newsom greeted him at the tarmac, right? Greeted him at the tarmac or on the tarmac. And so, and the reason why the Donald came out here was to address what happened with the fires. And so here you see Gavin Newsom and the Donald taking a walk through what is now basically rubble that's pretty much been cleaned up. no rebuilding as of yet, but California gave $2 billion for relief and help and cleanup and assistance and insurance claims. $2 billion. But as you can see, the Donald in this photo looks like he's complaining about something, and it looks like Gavin Newsom's trying to explain to him what in the crap is going on and why things happen the way that they have. And so since California gave $2 billion for relief, how come the Donald couldn't match that with another $2 billion willingly so he can help his citizens, his American citizens that he claims he loves so much? Remember, he always says he loves this country and he wants to do this for the country and do that for the country. Well, how come you haven't put up $2 billion to help people of the United States of America? How come you haven't gone to Altadena and Pasadena? Still. And then oh gosh, this is it. As the days go by, things just get more and more and more. Things just get more and more out of hand. And speaking of the Donald, and speaking of Gavin Newsom, you know, Gavin Newsom actually sent out help to those that are in Texas right now, because parts of Texas have been underwater since the 4th of July weekend. And no help was given until just this past Monday, right? Because we just came over a 4th of July holiday, and the Homeland Security Secretary didn't send any type of help until Monday. A whole weekend went by. The flood started Thursday night, Friday morning, and our secretary didn't help until Monday morning. Talk about government efficiency, right? Wasn't that what DOGE was? The Department of Government Efficiency. Well, it seems like it's very deficient right now because more people are missing and more people are no longer with us in Texas. But leave it up to Batman, Bruce Wayne, because he sent relief to Texas, right here in California, of course, South Carolina, and possibly a couple of other states on the East Coast or in the South, Tennessee and other states. So how come the Donald isn't addressing any of these catastrophes with any type of urgency? You know, some kind of empathy, right? Some kind of empathy, compassion. But it appears that he's showing none of that. So we'll see how all this pans out, because it looks like our governor is taking it upon himself to give help to other states. And South Carolina and Texas are red states, and they're welcoming the help. Mexico is helping out in Texas. Canada is helping out in Texas. But the Donald hasn't even gone out there yet. He hasn't even gone to Minnesota to address what happened in Minnesota with the House rep and the senator. Talk about loving your fellow citizens and loving your country, right? Loving your country. Till next time.